everyone. A very good evening, morning, and afternoon to all the people who joined today. It's a Saturday again, and we are here again with another exciting workshop. I'm Rashika, one of the co-founders at ProApp. So before we start, I just wanted to let you know to keep an eye on the chat sections. We might have some exciting surprises lined up for the individuals attending this workshop. So coming back to our workshop, today we have Barbara. She's the head of design and experience at IBM iX. Barbara is a product designer with over 8 years of experience in the digital industry. She specializes in creating user-centric solutions, applying IBM's enterprise design thinking, human-centered design, and agile methodologies. She actively participates in initiatives or ventures, especially if they have a current that promotes equity in the STEM world. People who don't know what STEM is, it's science, technology, engineering, maths, and such as women in tech. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Barbara, the stage is all yours. Thank you.
As graphic designer, I was working in many agencies, mainly digitally based agencies. And at one point of my life, I had a meltdown. I started asking myself what my work was, what was I doing, which was my contribution to the world, right? So I found out this world of user experience and I was very excited about it. But in my agency, there was a spot in the web design team, but by that time it was called web design. And I wanted to apply, but the directors of this agency, they didn't believe in that in that path for my career. So I built a whole presentation of why should I pivot my career into UX experience. And then they accepted me. They allowed me to make the change. So I began as UI designer. Okay, so I was working as UI designer in many projects in this agency. And there was a very important one, which was a redesign for a bank here in Peru, which its name is Interbank. So I participated in this project with an very important agency, which its name is Huge. I don't know if you've ever heard about this agency. So there I learned a lot of things by working with a whole different team. And it was a completely life-changing experience. So by that time, I started to look for other parts of the design process. Okay, so I really wanted to know more because as a graphic designer, I started as UI, but I wanted to know more. So I started exploring more about UX design. By that time, I changed the company that I was working on. Liquid, the digital agency, opened a startup accelerator only for digital based startups. So this was Liquid Venture Studio. In this place, I started leading product designers, other designers, and that was my first experience leading teams. Okay, and a year after, I was called by IBM to join their team, and in there I've been working for the last 4 years. Great company, I loved it. I didn't know that Rashka was there too. It's a great place to learn. And in here, I could work in many projects around the Latam region. So after that, the pandemic, the COVID hit us all, and I want to learn more, to join more organizations. So I started working with women in tech while I was working at I keep working at IBM. I joined ADP East as mentor. I also started a course learning in Repensar. Repensar Educativo is a company that it's like a e-learning company that works here in Latam. And in parallel with all of that, in my early days of career, in my product designer path, I learned front-end development because I needed that to understand more about my friends, my developer friends, so I wouldn't ruin their days by putting weird things on the designs on the experience. I also studied in IDEO something about the power of the purpose and human-centered design. I also got my certification from Nielsen Norman Group, and some other places like UTEC and UX School Academy. In UTEC, this is a Peruvian university. I learned about behavioral design. And in UX School, I learned about research methods. So that's a lot of me. So let's talk about product design. About product design and experience. What is product design? Okay, so product design is a process that matches the user needs, which is the basis of human-centered design, yes, but also tries to achieve the business goals. This is very important because sometimes we as a designer, we love users, we want the best for them. And sometimes in this path of doing the best for our users, we forget about the business. Like business, what? They want money, they want to earn money. That's crazy, right? So, but in product design, we need to work in a balance to match both user needs and business goals. And in all of this path, we need to create successful experience that keep the branding alive in the different touch points. We're gonna talk about it in a bit. So the product designers works to create experiences or enhance experiences in these solutions we create for the users. Okay, also in this enhancing the product, if it's an app or it's a web, it doesn't matter the channel anyway. So what we need to make is to make it sustainable along the business goals, right? So, you know, Google, for example, does this a lot, right? They create new products and they try to they make them better through time, and then they decide sometimes that it's the end of the days of this product. For example, Google Meets. No, not Google Meets. There was a chat before Google Meets. I can't recall which was their name, but they have many solutions that they start working with, and then sometimes they put an end to these solutions. So about the career and about this is something that you might have heard, or maybe you have this question, right? What's the difference between product design and UX design? Oh, I have the chat here. So it was Google Hangouts, right? And then it changed to Google Meets. Thank you so much. So what's the difference between product design and UX design, right? Which one is better? which one is stronger and has the most of the best. So spoiler alert, there are no main differences actually. The bases are pretty much the same. Sorry if you were thinking, oh, this one is better. It's not that. Which one is better is more like which are the priorities of each one of these practices. So let's check about the similarities first. Okay, the similarities between both practices are that they focus on creating the best of the best products for the users, which is the basis of human-centered design, put the user or the human in the center of the whole experience. They quantify and analyze that data, yes, even if it's qualitative, quantitative, even if we work on user interviews or any other qualitative, quantitative or quantitative research method. And we also use very similar tools within the project, the process, right? Even if these are archetypes of research, softwares, among other tools. So then where's the difference? Which is this difference? The priorities, okay? What are the priorities for each one? The user needs and the business goals. Usually for UX design, the priority is the experience of the user. We mainly focus on the user and only that. In product design, in first is that we try to make this balance between user needs and business goals. And the other thing is that product designers tend to be generalists. So as a generalist profile, you have more chances to work in many other practices because you know more about the whole design process. So the thing is that while you keep having more and more experience, you will understand and you will find the practice that likes you the most, right? That you love. For example, I started as a product designer, but I love research. So I want to specialize myself in UX research. That's what I want to do for the rest of my career. Let's imagine. And let's imagine only because no one really knows how the design is going to change for the next years. So what are the other things that product designers focuses, right? So for example, we have the alignment of the experience with the business goals within the roadmap. We also need to understand and to project how is the product going to be in 2 years, in the next 2 years. How will it work with the next 5 year, for example, with the company's ecosystem? Because product design, my friends, you might be working on one project, but the project is living through in an ecosystem. For example, it might be a digital ecosystem if we think about a bank, right? A banking company. So we might have mobile applications, we might have web spaces, websites, like private spaces for the users and also institutional websites, but they all coexist in an ecosystem. So how will this product, this application or website is going to live in that ecosystem? And also, how can we improve our product experience to achieve the business goals, right? This is why product designers can work hand by hand with growth hackers, because we need to start thinking about what are the strategies to make our business, our product grow. So what is the life cycle of a digital product? In product design, it's essential to create. Well, it's not like essential. It depends on how are you joining a team. Are you joining a team that is working in a specific product? But you can, as I was saying before, you can start working on a new project that is that it has a lot of uncertainty, so you need to validate a lot of things. Or you can join a product that it's already alive, it's already in production, so you need to work on how is this project is going to grow. In both cases, you're going to work also in a product roadmap. So what are the next steps? What are the next goals for this product, right? So you might start in uncertainty. You might have new knowledge about the product if it's already alive. But in both cases, you need to look for the scalability of the project. This is why we are always thinking about the continuous optimization of the customer experience, to seek the new features and capability and make them match with the brand experience. This is why we need to respect the coherence with the branding. But this is something that we're going to talk in a minute, I promise. And also thinking about the evolution of the brand. So another example, and I would like you to answer in the chat if you've ever seen this. I know you have. You have seen this meme at some point of your life. Yes, it's about Haynes. Yeah, this is a meme. This is a post we might have seen on LinkedIn, some places, right? But this is a post that I actually don't like very much. We're going to discover the truth behind the Haynes ketchup. Okay, so here in this example, we have UI versus UX. But this is a lie. Okay, this is a lie. This is not okay, guys. Let's change the point of view of this meme. Okay, but to change the point of view, we need to think about branding, to think about the business identity. So we have 2 bottles of ketchup here, one of glass and one of plastic. They both have interfaces. One is glass, the other one is plastic. One opens from the top, the other one opens from the bottom. Both have experiences, user experiences. One has a quite hard experience, right? Because if you want to pour ketchup in your plate, if it's full, you're going to make a mess and use a lot of ketchup, more than what you need. And if there's no much in the bottle, you're going to need to hit the bottle in order to eat your French fries. In the other one, it's an easier experience, more smooth. It's gentle. You can pour the ketchup in easy ways. But what else do we have here? Here we have evolution of the product. You know, this glass bottle was built in 1887. The other one is from the new millennium. So we have more than 100 years of evolution, right? Not exactly, but as evolution per se, but more than 100 years of difference between both experiences. So they took a lot to question the experience of the ketchup use, but they did had an enhance of the experience. But the thing here is that besides there are like 100 years of difference between each bottle, is that they preserve the branding, even the shape of the etiquette, right? So they preserve the branding, they respected it. Maybe of course it has a little enhance, it's more simple, but they made an improvement by preserving the branding, so the users will find the Heinz essence of this bottle in the new one. So branding, it's also about strategy, experience, and identity. This is very important, and I want you to remember this every time, everywhere you go. I don't know how is the design the design practice that you sometimes deal with, but sometimes myself here in Peruvian market, I oftenly hear, oh, it doesn't matter, people saying, right? Oh, it doesn't matter if it's ugly, it works. So it's okay. No, it's not okay, guys. It's not okay, because we need to, when we are creating a product, a digital product, even it's an app or a web or a mailing, it doesn't matter. We are representing a brand. Every touch point, every single touch point of the brand is an extension of its identity. Okay, so every brand has their own territories, their own personalities. And in product design, we need to visualize and interpret this product identity, this brand identity through the product. So every interface, channel, touch point is an extension of the brand personality. I really want you to remember this, because of the next slide. For example, we need to think about the branding interaction with our user. So there are 12 brand archetypes. Usually branding, the brands at their brand identity manual, they have a description about how is the personality of the company. Is it the creator? Is it the innocent, the explorer? For example, Land Rover, it's the explorer, right? And Mercedes-Benz is, I believe, is the governant. So let's imagine a conversation of these two brands. Land Rover, which is this explorer, with its territories, the freedom, right? And in the government, we have the territory of control. Let's imagine how they apologize or how they say hello, right? Maybe Land Rover is more easygoing in that way, like, hi, how are you? Are you ready for our next adventure? And the government, as Mercedes, is more like, hello, where are we heading next, right? It's different. So we need to understand this. So these archetypes, this brand personality, identity, and characteristics, to traduce them and translate them and put them on our product design. So this will allow us to establish emotional bonds with the true personality of our brands and not generic ones. So when we think about the brand interaction, let's think about two characters interacting, two characters that has their own values, their own pains. For example, here, a brand persona right? In which you can think on how they will talk to the user, and also your user persona, and in which you can imagine how is this user going to understand the message, and how are they going to react. We can think about this, about two characters interacting maybe in a movie. So we're going to talk about something that I love. I don't know if you've ever heard about this, about growth mindset. This is something very interesting. I I learned about growth mindset, I believe 2 years ago, and I fell in love with it. I adore it, absolutely adore it. Growth mindset is essentially is that abilities can be developed. So may I present to you Carol Dweck. It's a psychologist and researcher, and she wrote this book about growth mindset. Here she talks about two type of mindsets, and there's the growth mindset and the fixed mindset. And the growth mindset is characterized by the belief that every individual, or each one of us, can develop abilities and improve these abilities or cultivate them. So let's think about this example. Here we have fixed mindset and growth mindset. Fixed mindset says, oh, intelligence is innate. You either are born with intelligence or you're not. While growth mindset says intelligence can be developed. This is the and to give you another example, have you ever heard that talent, you either are born with talent, but you can persevere? So this is another point of view of it. So for example, we have fixed mindset versus growth mindset. In fixed mindset, you may have talent or not. You have innate qualities, you were born with them, or you were not born with it. For you can make them appear out of nothing. A lot of the time you have skill comparison, because either if you were born with it with an ability, someone else might have been born with a better ability than yours, which lead us to perfectionism and frustration. This happens a lot, right? You tend to avoid challenges because you might fail. You have fear of failing instead of enjoying the experience. So, in the other hand, we have the growth mindset, which has the wish to learn new things. The point of view that you can see mistakes as opportunities to grow, because if you let's imagine, for example, if you're perfect, you have achieved your roof. I don't know if this is how you say it in English, but you've reached the top of your top. You can go better. But if you have you don't know something, that this means that you have the opportunity to keep learning, that there's undiscovered places for you, which is quite exciting because it means you can keep growing. So also in growth mindset, we have skill development and cooperation and growth. So what are other difference between both of these mindsets? Challenges and effort, for example. Usually fixed mindset and perfectionists try to avoid challenges, because if you feel that you're having effort, it means that it's hard for you. And if it's hard for you, it means that you have lack of ability, which is not completely true, because sometimes when we have new experiences, we are going to have a curve of learning. We might have a hard time learning something, but at, at the end of the day, or at the end of the weeks or the months, how it doesn't matter how much time is going to cost you, this effort can lead you to success, which is the point of view of the growth mindset. You can enjoy challenges because by the end of the time that it takes you to learn something, you might find actually success, which is great. So how do they say they see obstacles? They usually, in fixed mindset, they usually quit the obstacle due to the lack of motivation. Oh, it's hard for me, I can't do it. I wasn't born for this, right? But in growth mindset, we want to persist despite the setbacks. And about criticism, and this is also seen in feedback. Criticism in fixed mindset is negative, and because they can make us feel vulnerable. But in growth mindset, we're receiving lessons from a different point of view. Maybe you're giving me information that I didn't have before. And this is good, because in that way, I'm going to learn something new. So in criticism for growth mindset, this means we have lessons that we couldn't achieve, we couldn't learn if someone else's wouldn't give it to us, because there are things that we cannot see, that can only be seen for someone else. This is very important, because in the design process, we need to receive feedback for our projects. We need to be open for the feedback, be open to learn and understand different point of view, very objectively, but we need to understand the other points of view. So I would like to read you in the chat. What other growth mindsets do you remember from maybe movies or series or histories? For example, I have here one of my favorite movies, which is Mulan. I love it, because in this movie, Mulan goes to the world to protect his father, and actually she doesn't know how to fight, or doesn't know how to do everything that everyone else is doing, actually. But she's almost about to give up, but she finds a way to achieve her goals, right? So she doesn't step back. She doesn't run from the challenges. She actually runs towards it. So let's talk about product design and growth mindset. How are these two things related, right? Growth mindset sounds so much for soft skills, and product design, it's a whole practice. But these actually are quite related. Oh, thanks, Adive, for your example. Yes, and in Encanto, they too have growth mindset. Maribel actually has growth mindset. So how are these two topics really even related, right? So in design, in design frameworks and in general, and growth mindset principles are pretty much, they have many things in common. So we need to learn and identify opportunities. We need to have teamwork and focus on improvements, right? These are the keys for growth, the growth of digital products. So here we have, for example, the method versus exploration or trial and error, right? The method, I think that maybe one of you guys have heard that there are more methodic persons, right? People that are very methodic tend to create a method for everything, very step by step, which is good. But sometimes, as the Murphy laws tells to us, not everything is going to happen as we planned, right? So we need to let the things go with the flow, and we need to go more with trial and error and be prepared by that maybe not all the things that we're planning are going to be the way we think about it. So the method is going to give us a framework, but there's not a single path. In this case, we need to see the tools of design, the design process, the design frameworks, methods, whatever you want, as a toolbox. Okay, in this toolbox, you're going to have a problem or have something that you need to work on. You need to create a solution, and you need to see the method as a toolbox, because you're going to look for a tool and use it in your design, in your method. Okay, because in the end, there are many ways to reach the solution. So we're almost at the end of the presentation. So I would like to tell you some of the hard skills that a product design needs. This is about hard skills, knowledge, abilities that can serve you in this career line. In the first, of course, the king, we have research and analysis. Some of these are found in the UX research practice. You will need to know to understand how interviews work, how can you perform usability tests or A/B testings. You will need at some point to understand how to analyze that data, among other things. For another skill, very important, it's planning and launch. So with this, we can land with these abilities, with these skills, we can land an efficient roadmap, which we will be able to understand the scalability and the life cycle of our products using the artifacts or tools of the methodology. Also, you will need to understand how to design and prototype, conceptualization skills, ideation, to land on your solution in low, medium, or high fidelity prototypes. And finally, the skill of interface design, right? Because this is very important with the brand identity topic that we talked about before. We need to understand the singularity of the brand identity and translate it into the experience, into a scalable UI. And some of the soft skills for product designers that can help you in this career line is problem solving. Okay, so you need to solve problems, focus on the analysis and assertive solutions faced by the project, the product, or your team, even your team. So I'm going to stop here because I would like to explain more about of this point. So when you have a problem solving mind, you not only complain, because this is something that happens a lot in teams. Oh, we start to complain because we don't have this and we don't have that. If only something else will have happened. But if we stay in the complaining, we won't solve the things. So we need to analyze the problem and tackle it. So how are we going to solve this? Which are our scenarios? Which is the best outcome, which is the worst, which one is the worst outcome, and also in the product, the project, or the team. Active listening, the second one, is active listening and empathy. This is super important, super important in every single space of your life. So you need to actively listen, yes, to the user, to your team, okay, to the context and the stories on how the things happen. This is very important because in that way you're going to understand and empathize with every single stakeholder, because every stakeholder, even if it's in the business, in the company, or in your team, or even if it's the user, they have their own point of view. They have their own needs, their own pains, and it's good that you can understand them. If they are your team or your stakeholders, you are going to communicate better. And this has to do with the third point, which is assertive communication. Within the projects, we will find many types of personalities. This is talking about your team and your stakeholders most. Okay, so we need to communicate with them. We need to understand their different forms of communications, their pains, their needs, so we can come to a better outcome. Okay, and finally, collaboration and coordination. Again, with your teamwork, using empathy and active listening, and of course, assertive communication. Some job roles for a designer, for a product designer. If you start in product design as generalist designer, you can work as UX designer, as UI or visual designer. Also, if you want to learn more about motion, because you will understand the basis of experience and heuristics, and also the basis of UI, you can work as motion or animation designer, user research, prototyper, or product designer itself. So, what are the takeaways? You have efficiency. The sooner we fall, the sooner we will get up in life and in projects. So if you have a lot of uncertainty in your project, you better fail sooner and understand which one is the right path, or at least which one are not the cool paths for your project. What about methods? There is no perfect method, perfect formula. It doesn't exist. It depends. So the best you can do is look for the artifacts, the methods, the tools as a toolbox. You understand the tools, you know how to use the tools, and you will use the right tool within your design process. It's good to have a growth mindset. Mistakes are an opportunity to grow and learn. So there's the space of improvement. And finally, teamwork. This is very important. It's key to listen actively and to communicate assertively. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, I believe that there's a space of Q&A.
Hi, Barbara. I'm back.
Hi.
It was, I think, one of the most, what should I say, eye-opening workshop for me in past 2-3 months. So I really liked how you have linked the life quotes that we live by to, to design. The sooner you fall, the sooner you're gonna get up, right? So
Yeah.
I completely enjoyed it, and especially that Heinz example. Everyone uses it in terms of UX. You today gave it a completely different meaning of how they have intact branding, right? So that people can still, so as in it's not just UX design, or it's not just UI or product. It's entirely from the business perspective, the business angle, the branding perspective, making or leaving that sense in the minds of the user. Okay, this is the same brand which it was in 87, and keeping that intact so that they don't lose audience, right? That's the most important thing. So I think that was a really great and a different way of looking like to that example. Cool. I think we can
Thank you. Great.
cool. We already have two questions in the Q&A section. The first one is from I don't know how to pronounce it. Caxi, right? I've never been a designer, but I'm really interested on becoming a UX designer. Trust me, I don't know where to start. I don't know how it goes. I really need your help. So, how can I start my journey? I'm confused and I want to stop this.
Yeah, that's a very complex question. So, where can you start? First of all, you can start by learning courses, learning paths, right? So you can uh, start understanding the design process. This is going to be good for starting to build in your toolbox. But also, this is a very important thing that you start practicing these new skills that you will have. For example, if you want to be a UI UX designer or UX UI, you can start as musicians, right? For example, when you're learning to play guitar, you don't start composing your own songs. You start making covers, right? You start from other people's songs. So what you can do is actually start reproducing other experiences, analyzing them, and working with this new experience. For example, let's think that maybe you you start working in a learning path of UX UI design. You understand the whole process, the research, the interactive design, the UI design, and you work this whole process and start making your own work cases. For example, redesigning booking. Now you're going to, the best that you can do is try to recreate the whole design process to prove your skills and ask for feedback. Okay, I hope that that has answered your question.
I think, yeah, ask for feedback. That's the most important thing. So, yeah, there's one more. Okay, that's
So
simple. They've missed the session. Yes, there's gonna be recording, and I've shared the link. Guys, pour in more questions. We have Barbara for more 15-20 minutes. Okay. I work as a UX UI designer now. I'm trying to learn more on product design process and more of going deep into UX research. Any resources to start with?
yes, you can go to. I think I can. Maybe I can. Oh no. Okay, you can. I thought I can wrote it in the chat, but I think I cannot. So you can start by reading a lot of spaces. There's a lot of content also in YouTube channel. For example, there's a Nielsen Norman uh, blog. They have a lot of content about UX research. They have really good content about the methodologies and one by one step of how can you work on each methodology, and also about planning product journey. I believe that you can find it there.
Right. Or you can always start with ProApp.
Exactly, of course. Sorry.
No worries. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. Thanks. What are the top 3 tools that makes your life simple? For me, it's Notion.
Mm.
Notion is one among them.
Notion, definitely,
Very helpful.
definitely Notion. Figma, of course, I love it. Figma is the best. You can do so many things, and it's collaborative with collab, which is the best of the best in the new normality and remote life. And also, I will say Google Sheets. Yes,
Right.
Excel, right?
Right. Right.
It's great. It's great
Great.
to plan things. Oh, I will say also Airtable, but it's pretty much like Notion.
Hmm.
One of those. So
Sometimes I
we
would
have,
also say Miro, like Miro helps in laying out, the flows and the user flows. So if I have to
yes,
go and write something and I need to understand the flow, I'll just quickly go and sketch up the boxes. It helps me uh like put my thoughts on the screen, so it comes out handy.
yes, yes. Also, Miro, Mural, or
Mural,
also
right?
Pigdam.
Yeah,
Yes,
big
I usually use Mural or
Miro.
Miro for workshops with the collaboration teams, and when it's like enterprise design thinking workshops, we
Right.
usually use Mural. Yes.
Miro.
So we have another question. I am an entry level
UX
UI
UI.
UX designer. I'm currently working on my portfolio. I'd like to ask if there is a limit to the number of projects to feature my portfolio. I believe it's a great question that you have there. Congratulations. If you're struggling with the number of projects that you're working on, that's great. So I don't think that there's a limit. I don't think so.
Hmm.
What I think is that you should observe your projects and think which one of these are the best, and prioritize them. Prioritize the best project first, the second best second, and that's the order you should have. I believe that 3 or 4 projects is a good number. If you have more, and the talent acquisition people has time enough to look for the rest of the projects, it's great.
Cool. I want to be a professional product designer. Where can someone start from, and which one leads to another in order to get to that professional stage?
Actually, I by the time that I was understanding about UX UI and product design itself, it's something that I learned in the experience. I believe there are many learning paths um, of product design itself, but the main thing that you can think of is learning UX research, interaction, and UI. Also, if you want to learn more about the business goals and objectives, You can look for growth hacking, maybe, but the rest of it, or digital strategy. But the main thing is, well, the main things that I've learned were on field. So we have another question. If I create design to add to my portfolio as a beginner, do I need to conduct user research, and how can I understand my user needs? This is a great question. Thank you. So as a beginner, as I was saying before, you can think of making covers as musicians, and it will be so much better if you actually conduct your own user research. It's going to be good because you're going to use the skills that you've learned, right? So let's imagine I start learning something easy like cooking. I start learning cooking, but let's imagine that in my cooking learning, it's only theoretical. So when will I know how is this food actually cooked? If I go to the kitchen and do it. So that will be my advice. I will tell you guys, to everyone, when you have the chance to conduct your own user research, do it, because in that way, when you work on your portfolio, you will have something real to tell, right? Oh, I spoke with this type of user, I learned this, I discovered these insights because I actually talked to the people.
And I would want to taste that food, Barbara. When are you cooking?
Great. So we have another one. Any user research solution or suggestions? I don't understand this question. Any user research solution?
Maybe methodology he might be asking about.
Okay. There are many. For example, there's Maze. It's a tool that you can use for remote research. There's also, I believe its name is Loom. It's a tool that helps you create remote research, but by like interview or user test.
Right.
I believe those two, and also Optimal Workshop. It's a great tool for working with content. For example, tree testing, car sorting. You can work with Optimal. It gives you a lot of metrics too. It's really good.
Cool. Okay.
Okay, you said something. Oh, go ahead.
No worries.
Something about the 5 design thinking, and you mentioned prototype. The 5 design thinking.
Okay. The design thinking model, the empathy prototype. Yeah.
Here, maybe.
No, not here. Towards the beginning, I said somewhere when you were talking about the design thinking model, there you explained a point about
no, I don't think it was here. But let's understand this. 5 design thinking, and you mentioned prototype.
Your after your introduction slide, I think
like here, maybe. Yes, the design process.
Yes, this one.
Okay, prototype.
Right.
Okay. So the life cycle of a product, you have the space of uncertainty in which you don't have many information or knowledge of the thing that you're building, right? But at some point, you will work on an MVP. In this MVP, for building this MVP, Vera said, you will have to empathize with the users, with the problem, define the main problem that you want to work with. You will ideate a solution, you will prototype the solution. So prototyping the solutions means you will come up with the solution in reality. Even if it's low, medium, or high fidelity, you will make it real, tangible. You will make it real, something that the users can actually interact with, and they can understand, and you will receive feedback. Okay, this is the part that you will test it. To run the MVP, to make it live, you need to test it. After you move this solution, this MVP, you put it in the real world, that's not the end of the process. You will have to create a product roadmap. What are the next steps? Because in an MVP, you usually work with the 80% of the solution, but you have many more things that you can grow on. And also, better said, or also you can understand more about the product and pivot it, change it, enhance it. This is the product roadmap. But you will need to prototype it, yes, because you need to create the solution in reality, not only in concept.
Cool. Okay. So there are 2-3 common questions which talks about any books, any particular book which you gonna recommend. I just combined all of them and answer question.
So I believe that there are many good books. For example, The Design of Everyday Things is really an enlightening book. It's I know it might sound cliche in this career, but it's really good because it gives you the shock of reality that everyone needs, right? To understand that it's not only your point of view, it's not only your biases. You need to understand how this work for everyone else. I think it's a good book to start with. There are many others, for example, the ones about value proposition, but I will start with this one because I actually like these books / novels, not only methodologies, but most of it with stories.
Yeah. Qualities of a good UX designer portfolio.
I believe that storytelling is a good quality. I didn't put it in this presentation, but storytelling it's a really good skill that everyone should have actually, because if you understand the foundations of storytelling, you will have a path or structure for telling your stories. So in a UX portfolio, you need to tell the stories of the cases that you've solved, you solved, right? So you have a problem, a solution, etc., etc. How you tackle it, how you solve it, what did you find out? So qualities of a good UX designer portfolio, I will say storytelling, good stories, good cases, very well structured. And also, if you don't have the time to the time or the assets to have a UX storytelling course or learning path, you can always start reading other UX designers' portfolios and understand what are they doing and how can you implement that in your own portfolio.
That's great. I think in last, not right now, but in last uh, year, while I was helping my team to shortlist some UX designer and UI designers portfolio. So I noticed one thing that people don't look for too jazzy portfolios. They would even understand if everything is very neatly laid out, right? In the priority, in the hierarchy, how the most recent projects can come first, right? And if everything is well laid out, well placed, I think it works great for you.
It works too. Yes, yes. You know, the layout, it's really important too. You're right. Yes, I was missing that very important part. But you know what? There was a strategist designer entered to IBM, and her portfolio was actually a medium entry. So her portfolio were her cases redacted, right, written in medium, and that was it. Because at the end of the time, the layout is really important as the content. The content is the king.
Right.
Okay, so content, layout. Go for it.
Good to go. Okay.
Well, exploring it gets really interesting, and how do I know when to stop if I'm going in the wrong direction? This is like in life and in internet. When do I stop?
Instagram reels.
No. TikTok, right? 3 hours later, and I keep swiping.
Still scrolling.
So,
right.
I keep scrolling, right? Keep swiping. Okay, so when you're exploring, it gets really interesting. Yes, it happens. How do I know when to stop? I believe that for this, it's really good. I don't know how you say in Spanish, but there's a research matrix that you work on when you're creating hypothesis. In Spanish is matriz de CSD, which means certainty, questions, and doubts. Certainty, assumptions, and doubts. I don't know how are the capitals in English, but this matrix can actually help you to do everything in your life. What do you know for sure? What are your assumptions? What do you think you know? And what are your questions? So when you start exploring, if you know these parameters, you know what do you think you know, then you know you need to challenge those thoughts. When you have questions and you need to answer those questions, by the time that you've answered those questions, you will actually understand if you need to stop, if, oh, I think I'm okay with this information, or if actually you're going through the wrong to the wrong direction, because maybe the certainty you had before is contradictory to this new knowledge, and maybe you need to validate it with someone else.
I think we have 2 more questions. What do you do as a designer when someone else copies your design and claim it theirs without giving you due credit?
I will destroy them through social media. No, that's a joke. That's a very destroy them. No, that's actually something that happened to me. You know, before I actually began my career as graphic designer in advertising. I was in I don't know how do you say it in English, but in Bellas Artes, which is an institution to learn sculpture. Okay, I was going to be a sculptor. Someday in my life, I will be. So by that time, I used to paint murals in walls. Okay, huge murals, and I also did many illustrations. And there was a time in which I came to a Facebook profile that had my illustrations. And then I actually wrote them, "Hi, I see you're using my illustrations. What is happening? What's wrong with you?" And I actually confront the people and tell them, "This is mine." And they said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I just came across through internet. I'm going to put by Barbara." So what I did was speaking with these people. I talked to them. I told them, "Hey, this is my property, my intellectual creation. It will be better if you don't use it in that way, or at least give me some credits." But this is many, many, many years ago, and I was not working with it. So what I will tell you is that if you work on a team with this project, I will tell you, my advice will be that you talk to your team, and you as a group go and tell to this person, "Hey, this is not yours. It's not right to do it." Okay, and also put your project in your portfolio and claim it as yours. It's yours, come on. Last question. Currently, I'm self-teaching myself, okay? How far do you think I can go? And other designers I can check out to learn more. I believe you can go very far. Of course, self-teaching is really good, but at some point you will need someone else's opinion. So what you can do if you're teaching yourself, you're understanding, learning, but you need to be learning by doing. Okay, so don't forget to apply those new skills that you're learning. So at some point you have a project of your own that you can validate with other designers and get some feedback.
Right. So I think, Barbara, this brings us to the end of the workshop. And I think I almost say it at the end of every workshop. I think I can never say it less. Design is everything because of its community, right? And then there are people like you who voluntarily wants to help people and wants them to grow in the field of design, because it's at present it's this, right? And we are trying to make it this big. So
yes,
this is because of the contribution of all you people who come and help us in our mission as well, making it accessible and affordable. So thanks a lot, Barbara. And before we go, I just have one small announcement for everyone that we are gonna conduct 52 free workshops this year to help everyone scale and build their careers, and plus make design accessible across the globe. So all I need from you is a little support and feedback. And for that, I will be rolling out a survey towards the end of the workshop. Just fill in those surveys so that we'll have more people like Barbara onboarded to ProApp. And yeah, we're gonna make design education a quality education for everyone by making it affordable and accessible.
Great. That's great news.
Thank you so much, Barbara. And I think everyone loved it.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night. I know it's really late for you guys.
Same here. Have a good night too. Have a good rest of the day for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes,
Let's
you
do it
guys are
again.
in the future.
Right.
Yes, thank you. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.